You can only watch reruns of, what is this? X Factor? America's Got Talent? This cat, I don't know, I love these. Like, this is just fun. So I thought I'd talk about TV shows and stuff like that today, right? Done a handful of TV shows. Here's what happens behind the scenes. These guys, I mean, I don't know, man. I personally cannot sing at all. But if I did, I still think it'd be freaking terrifying getting up on a stage in front of like a whole bunch of people doing your first audition. Those are the ones I watch. You know, those are the best. And I gotta say, as far as television goes, and this is what made me think about it, what I really appreciate about these talent shows is you see truly authentic, like people at their best. You know what I mean? Sometimes they're not at their best. Sometimes they're just not good. But you gotta admire somebody that takes that chance, right? I do not like the shows that glamorize? Yeah, glamour. Why can't I think? Well, maybe it's because it's 5 in the morning. I've been up watching freaking telly for an hour, drinking tea. I drink tea. Not because I'm, want to be like worldly, although there is something kind of cool about it. And thank you, I'll get tea. But coffee, oh man, I'm like skateboarding through the city yesterday, right? What I do? I'm trying to think. I don't know where I went. I just like sunrise, skateboard, whatever. And I see a freaking like bakery, and I'm like, bingo, like Chinese bakery, right? They make good bake stuff, right? My girlfriend wanted to go do something fun. We were going to cruise, and I think we took the motorcycle to Golden Gate Park and walked around. It was really quite nice, right? But anyway, so I'm thinking, I never do nice things. Not that I'm not a nice person. I think of people a lot. I just don't do anything about it, right? But this time I did. Walk in, freaking get a couple like little, I don't eat these things much, so I didn't know what to freaking get. She didn't want them. Nice gesture, right? Custard pies, whatever, freaking little thing, right? And I'm like, bingo, I'm here. I might as well get some coffee. Well, as she pointed out to me, you don't go to a Chinese freaking place for coffee. They drink tea, right? I didn't think of that, right? And it was like, kind of gritty, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, I'm freaking gnarly, messed up my morning. Seriously, had to take a teaspoon of baking soda and a freaking little cup of water and settle my stomach down. Anyway, we're talking television, talking Hollywood. I haven't been to Hollywood. I have not done any work in Hollywood. I've done work in New York, California, Colorado. Never nothing in Hollywood. That's it. Now my morning's ruined. Thanks for that. Anyway, all right. So the last show I did, I think, was the most telling. This is really funny. The first show I did was, I gotta freaking turn this down. Just bear with me for a second. Sorry, we're running live here, people. This is, you can just freaking talk into the. You can just talk right into it. Freaking pulls up whatever you want. I just pulled up rock auditions. It's really quite fun. I don't know. I admire these guys. But anyway. So the last show I did, I think, was most telling because as it had turned out, at that point, there was a pilot being floated around by the production company that produced Curbapeal, which was HGTV's #1 show. And the producer of that show saw potential for me to have my own show, right? Now, I'll be honest with you. I never saw that pilot. Really should have, but part of what makes me wonder about it now, case in point, I was rather indulgent at that time, right? So we had filmed a show at my house, and I'm just having a good time, right? Cameras are running, big crew and what have you, and they were there for a long time. And we filmed a show called Curbapeal at my house where I redid the landscape of my house. And whatever, I'm an excitable guy under any circumstance. Under these circumstances, cameras are rolling, go ahead and get silly, you know? But, I think it was around Halloween. At one point, I got freaking Halloween costume, just getting freaking wacky, right? But I'm not sure that the pilot for the show that I'm going to refrain from using names of companies and stuff, but this significant production company was floating around, might not have been like, this guy's freaking unglued, you know? Never saw the pilot, didn't really get the angle. They filmed a number of my gardens and a number of my clients talking about me. But I then got a call from DIY station. It was not from the station, it was the Roundtable Media. Right? High Noon Productions? I can remember. It might be High Noon. They did Iron Chef productions like that, right? So they had a new show that was featuring on DIY network, whatever, called Dominator. And it's the porn industry. And I'm just kidding. It's Dominator was an Iron Chef for like tradespeople. So the idea was you would have a competition, different trades. I'm a landscape designer, contractor, builder, whatever. And the idea would be you have a period of time to do a project, and then they would judge like 3 different people against one another and see who comes out the best. Now I had asked, because there was a chance of me having my own show at this point, I had asked the producer of that show, who was, I believe, like running around LA, and it's an interesting world, in the ins and outs of how things work. 1 week a year, everybody with their pilots goes there, shows a little bit, talk to other execs, make it or break it, change it, twist it, But in this case, I talked to this guy, and he said, don't worry about it, go ahead. I guess A&E had some interest in my show, which was kind of exciting. A little bit nerve-wracking, because like I said, I didn't even know what the show was about. It was about such a faking guy come unglued, because I was, whatever. But anyway, so he says, look, the executive producer at DIY does not like you, so don't expect to win the competition. But feel free to do it. You're not going to compromise our chances, right? Which I think at that point, he might have known we don't really have a chance. We're not going to get a show. Even though there was a little bit of, I don't really know. It's tough to ever know what people are really talking about, especially in that industry. And I wouldn't hold it against a particular guy who I like a lot. I think he's, you don't know. Anyway, which would make it really tough if that's your whole freaking life. For me, it was a hobby, But if that's your whole life, that could be stressful. All the same, I'm like, okay, cool. So I cruise into Colorado, Denver, flying to Denver. And we're going to film there. We're filming at like the fairgrounds. Can't remember. Big. What we did, to clarify, I don't think I even have a copy of the show. I thought the show sucked. Let's just call it what it is. That show sucked. I do not like that show. It was flipping lame, man. Here's a little insight as to how reality TV works. This was a competition. You win $10,000 for the winner. And we each had a plot of space with a bunch of tools, tractors, crap like that. We build a landscape, got 6 hours to do it, right? And I just thought that this was really lame. The idea was, apparently, I, for whatever reason, came across as somebody you would not like. I don't know. Maybe the pilot made me look bad. I don't really know. But I walked on the set day one, and there was a black homosexual from D.C. Nice guy. I think it's okay to talk about sexual orientation. It was sort of exemplified in his behaviors, I think, right? So you had that stereotype. Then you had this West Coast sort of surfer. And I think I probably represent that fairly well. And then you had the hometown girl from Colorado. And she was a nice person. I'm not putting her down, right? She was part of the production. I thought the production was really lame. And this is what happens with reality TV. Nice as you are, you want to make good TV, here's the way we want it to be. So rather than everybody being 100% who they were, well, except for me, because I was being prompted regularly to act like a dick. I think this is the only show I'll talk about because it's going to get lengthy. I walk on the set. I get there. I walk on the set. And the hometown girl is like, you're from are you the one from California? And I'm like, I am from California. She's like, I hate California. I'm like, I'm sorry to hear that. happy we're in Colorado, right? She goes, I'm a mountain girl. I'm like, well, the last I checked, we have mountains and they're bigger. So then she said, well, I snowboard. And it was weird. It was really weird. It was catching me off guard. I had no idea that this was set up, and realized cameras were rolling and they were really trying to, prompt me for like argument, right? She's like, well, I snowboard. And I'm like, well, I snowboard and I surf. So I guess I'm a little more diverse, right? And like, I wasn't trying to be mean. I'm like, you have some social issues, right? Only later did I realize what was going on, because she didn't seem like she was authentically moronic. So the competition, it was kind of funny. I had a couple days to kill. So just incidentally, I take off. What I do, I rent a car. They give me a car. I go to the mountains. There's a place called the Pioneer Inn. The Pioneer Inn near Estes Park, perhaps? Middle of freaking nowhere. This is kind of like where the pot growers and like some really tiny place, right? There's always a Pioneer Inn. There's one in Sitka, yeah. But anyway, Pioneer Inns can be dangerous. Fun, but dangerous. Anyway, this one, and a freaking bar closing, right? It's 2 a.m. and I meet this guy who, he got sort of discharged due to some confusion in his head from the military. And a lot of people living on the fringe out there, and the bar's closing, so 2 a.m., it's a good time to get a jump on the day. So we're thinking we should go climb a mountain. And he's like, yo, I know how to get there. I'm like, bingo, freaking let's do this. So we take off in a little freaking rental car, and we're going to go climb and sleep on top in some place. And swear to God, oh my God, this was flipping nuts, man. He's like, just drive through it. It's a flipping river. And I'm not talking a creek, man. I mean, legit river. And what had happened was there was like a dam. So normally you could drive, but the dam was overflowing like a lot. So you're driving just below a dam that's not that high, maybe about 5 feet high, right? So you're driving at the edge of the dam, but it's a freaking river. So you're driving at the edge of what is a waterfall, legit flipping waterfall, right? And you're driving to a creek that is probably 50 yards, 25 yards at least, right? In the middle of the flipping night in a little tiny rental car. So we're cruising, right? Like, go for it, right? And then we get caught on a flipping boulder, man. And you can't go. You're just stuck in a river in the middle of the night, and there's like kind of white water, legit. Like, it's a problem, right? So I'm just like, yeah, man, I'm just going to freaking put back the seat and call this one in stolen. Now, I guess I was going to, I don't know, it was momentary confusion, right? So the cat that I'm cruising with gets out, and he freaking rocks the car, and sure enough, I'm moving. Now, we still got a ways to go, but I can't pull over and stop for him, so I just keep freaking going. And this cat somehow, he was a pretty freaking, interesting guy. Boom! Next thing you know, side of the river, he's in. We're on it. But that kind of derailed our plans, our well-laid plans, because we were going to go climb this, this hill. I mean, as much as you can. It would have been cool, whatever. But so we just camped in the forest. And then the next day, I meet this freaking cowboy. Check this cat out. How cool is this guy, right? Lost all his teeth breaking horses by himself, which is a legit thing. If you know anything about horses, which I don't, you freaking hop on a wild, like untamed horse, and you do that by yourself. This guy was very good at it, so people would bring him horses, and here's the story. He freaking gets kicked off. The horse kicks him in the face, busts out all his flipping teeth, man, wakes up like who knows how long later, all bleeding out, right? Has to freaking drive himself to the hospital, makes it, right? And then he ends up riding point in the Mustang Roundup, which is in Nevada, the state of Nevada. There's huge numbers of wild horses, right? Every couple of years, they round up all the flipping horses, right? And you got a bunch of cowboys in the back chasing, corralling all the horses. And you got freaking like one or two guys in front that are just flipping on it, right? Like You have to be like there's nothing. It was really cool. This cat was super chill. Like riding his horse across the country. There's a picture of him riding a horse down like that main street in Vegas. This cat was legit. Knew how to like skin animals and tan hides. And I mean, it was a freaking real deal, right? So anyway, because he and I rode for a day, just one day. It's kind of fun. He was a freaking star, right? But anyway, so we let's see. Oh yeah, right. Super chills. Talk slow like a cowboy, right? And so the two of us were perfect combination. He didn't talk much. I'm just kidding. No. But anyway, he smiled when he talked about the freaking. They had it on National Geographic, the freaking helicopters overhead, and he's describing like mad herd of horses running behind him. He says his horse is really fast, really good horse, and he's like, you're running just full on, just flying, man, and you got to head toward the crowd because the horse will follow the leader, right? But if you fall off, you got to freaking stampede to be sure that you no longer exist. Anyway, it sounded pretty exciting, and seeing him freaking shine and sparkle when he was talking about that, it was cool. Damn, that was freaking rad. You can talk to these freaking things. You just talk to them. I should pull it up right now. Yeah. Anyway, nice guy. I'd like to have kept in touch with him. I met a lot of people that are really cool. If you're one of them, and I didn't keep in touch with you, especially the freaking cowboy in Colorado, love to freaking, if nothing else, say hi. I'd love to go ride again, man. That was really fun. That was cool. Anyway, okay, so get out of the river, get to the set. We filmed the show. Got like 6 hours to build the landscape. They give you, okay, so here's the behind the scenes, right? There is a reality going on with a reality TV show, right? Behind the scenes, the producer, and this is not unethical, but this is the way it works, right? They want certain characters to be developed in certain ways. They wanted me to have like some sort of mean vengeance toward the hometown girl, and that makes for good TV. It's not unintelligent. To get these different personalities and conflict. They want conflict. If you ever want to be on something like Survivor or something like that, don't tell them how cool you are. Tell them about things that drive you flipping nuts. Just so irritating. I can't handle it. I'll lose it. That's TV. They don't want to see somebody doing freaking yoga. That's why I wasn't on it. So, anyway. That's the only show I actually ever auditioned for. I think it was Survivor, yeah. Anyway, so we do the show, right? And during the show, I'm like, well, I don't think I knew what the show was going to be. I had to design the landscape. I have an attention deficit issue, whatever. So I'm supposed to be designing this landscape on, 20 by 20 foot plot of land, with these resources from different, you know what I mean? Like, here, this is where the plants that are available, whatever, right? And you can't see them. I'm in California, whatever. So I designed a landscape. It's pretty cool. Whatever. Yeah. And it's fun, and I like doing television. So I'm having a good time, right? 6 hours, you got like a bobcat and a bunch of freaking tools, and then they give you an assistant. But the materials, like I had a beach and a little pond and crap like that in this landscape. So you got a short amount of time to build it, and then your freaking beach doesn't look too good if they send you freaking like manky dirt, and like I had a banana tree and they sent me one that was freaking all like burned and stuff like that. And this is what I thought wasn't cool. I knew I was going to win one because it wasn't going to win the competition. But two things. It was my daughter's birthday, which made me feel pretty bad because this was also after the 08 market crash, and I was freaking like, as a business owner, it's incredibly depressing to not have work. As a homeowner, it's incredibly stressful to not have work and have a big mortgage. As a parent, to have 2 minor children and be losing your home, it's freaking devastating. So, good advertising. You can't really afford to pay for like television advertising. I'm like, at the very least, I should have some good advertising. But it was my daughter's birthday, and I was feeling kind of down, I mean, you feel that way. I mean, think about it. You're losing your freaking house. You got minor children, you know what I mean? That's a freaking heavy situation. So you make the most out of things, right? And they did things to sort of make sure that the hometown girl would win. Now, she was a nice girl. I think she really was a nice girl, and I don't mean to speak ill of her. I think she was a nice girl. Just that happens in our Hollywood lives. No, that actually really happens. A lot of be a little bit forgiving of what you see on television, like Floyd Mayweather. I don't particularly like that guy's character on TV. He might be a really nice guy. But yeah, that's part of, unfortunately, it's part of what makes you appealing to the viewing audience, have an attitude, right? Anyway, so they're doing things like in the middle of the show. At one point, my assistant, they give you somebody, a local guy, contractor to work with. He goes missing, and it never occurred to me to be pissed. I just talked to one of the producers, and I'm like, "Can you find out where he is? I need him." And then there was other stupid things they did. They were coming over during the show while they're filming, like, "Well, what do you think of Kathy?" And I don't know if that's her name, but I'm like, well, I don't. I'm like, I've got 6 hours to build this landscape. And then this was, I thought, really lame. At some point, they're like, "Oh, surprise, contestants. We've got something's going to happen. You're going to have a piece of sculpture that you have to incorporate in your garden. You'll be judged on how well it works," crap like this, right? So at some point, they, they had the perfect piece for her landscape. That's easy enough. You just make sure that she knows, when you hear the sound of the whatever, look up, and you're supposed to look and you're supposed to be doing your work and then look to see when, I don't know, a red flag comes up, whatever, right? Anyway, kind of clever enough to make you think that, oh no, she was more attentive than whatever, right? As it turned out, her ex-husband or husband or boyfriend produced a bunch of the work. So anyway, it was a little bit of a, I think it was $10,000, whatever. I don't know. One way or another, that's kind of the way that element works. Now, she really did do a nice job. But I only had like a short period of time to select my plants. There was tags on her plants from like 2 months earlier, and she went to the nursery, picked them up, stuff like that, right? Whatever, right? But here's the thing that I thought really sucked about that. And this was not cool. Don't flipping do this. That's not cool. I'm calling you out on this. You send me crap materials, and what they call the beauty shots when your work is all done, you freaking focus on a wilted banana tree. You don't need to do that. Just don't flipping do it. Not okay. Not cool. You can make everybody look good and still have her win. I did nothing to make you want to make me look bad. And you provided me substandard materials. Folks, it's on that to make me look bad. That's not cool. Anyway, that was what it was. Really, it was funny. That was the first time that I felt a little bit used. And I think I was lucky, because it would be really freaking easy to get sucked into, telly. And once you're contracted to do a show, you don't have creative control unless you're a superstar, and I don't even know if they do. Really, it's tough enough to get a show. So you can end up doing like a total jackass show without intending to be a jackass, I did meet with these producers from a big media production. They did a lot of stuff. Animal Planet, I can't remember the name of that company, but that was fun. And then, so I met with them in Berkeley, and it was cool. Some legit people flew in from LA and whatever, and it was going to be a landscape show. I'm a landscape designer. It was going to be a landscape show, and a couple things I did wrong. Oh my God, how funny, right? I was excited. I thought I handled it well. I went right from the beginning. Just said, "Hey, listen, just want to say thank you. Super exciting. I'm a freaking regular guy. This is just, even if nothing comes of it, I'm having a good time. Thank you." Right? Like big round table, whatever. Might have been Round Table Media. That's a production company. But anyway, I wanted to, I kind of like the delivery of the guy in San Francisco does dirty jobs. Has, unfortunately, I have a very distinct voice, and I can't say that I find it to be terribly pleasant. This cat has just a nice voice, cool delivery. There's certain voices, Michael Krasny on NPR, like great narration. The Olympics, iconic sound from the 80s. There was but anyway, what can I do? It's my freaking voice. And apparently it's so distinct. I have been places far away. New Hampshire once, I said good morning, and my friend Neil was like, Terry Mulroney. Connecticut, I grew up, I'm walking through around this lake called Lake Mohegan, and somebody through the freaking forest calls my name out. I said something like, is that your dog, to somebody else, and apparently my voice is that distinct. I don't know if that's a good thing. But, and then people have heard my voice from, I guess they've seen it on TV shows, and been like, I know you. You're like, and I'm bad with names and faces and pretty much everything. So it makes me nervous because I'm like, I remember Christmas party. But anyway, where were we? We're talking about that show. Oh, too bad. Would have been a good story. All right, here's just a funny side note, right? Reality TV. Let's keep it on that. I was filming a commercial. We'll end it on this because I can carry on. I was filming a commercial for Subaru, a little local commercial. It's kind of fun. It was on a green screen. Green screen is literally like a freaking green sheet will do. Then they can superimpose another image. Anyway, filming that around Santa Cruz area, Los Gatos, I think is where I was. And the girl, nice looking young lady, I'm her on-set husband, right? It's so funny when your freaking self-image is morphed so rapidly, because somehow the age factor came up and she asked what my age was, and something to the effect of you're 45 or 50, whatever, right? And in my sort of self-confidence of being on, freaking screen and what have you, I was like, yes, as a matter of fact, I am. Look pretty good, don't I? And, kind of expecting that's where my head was. I was very confident. And she looked at me like, ew, you're like as old as my father. You gotta have a sense of humor. Anyway, trying to think. You can find old TV shows I've done on YouTube, but I don't know how to put it on my show. I have a channel. If you like my channel, you can see a lot of things, but you can't see that because I don't know how to get it on there. I don't even know if I have a copy of it. But you can find old TV shows. The first one when my hair is really long, they were giving me an outline. They're like, don't read from the script. God, I was so excited about that, my first TV show. And I was traveling, so they get me a flight back from San Diego. I don't know, I was on a road trip with the kids. I felt like such jet set. I'm just going to bounce into San Francisco, film this little show. It was landscapesmart. And I built a waterfall with a couple wine barrels. And it's real awkward because I'd read there here's what we want you to say, but don't say it verbatim. And I'm like, I don't even read fast. So I'm like, looks like I'm not saying any of that. But it's kind of, believe it or not, Steve, we can make... I was excited about that show. That was pretty fun. Could be kind of fun. Not much money in it. Just to let you know, I remember talking about, I think it's fair to say, they were really nice people, by the way. And I think I'm Stacy and Clinton on Whatnottowear. Really, really cool people. This reminds me of what I was going to say about the other show. Their intentions were authentically good. And, I think that makes a big difference. When you're in media and you have the potential to have an impact on large numbers of people, you can be a septic little prick and really have a hugely negative impact. These guys authentically, were just really good people, wishing the best for people. And here, let me give you a makeover because it'll improve your life. I personally was like, there's no freaking way. I'm in this one jacket to put it on. I'm like, right from the beginning, I'm not going to wear a jacket. I'm a freaking 38-year-old trying to hang on to my, college image. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, you don't realize, but yeah, it's, like without those breaks, high school to college, whatever, without those breaks, you don't necessarily, at least I didn't ever come to like, well, let's just try something totally different. And I thought that was really cool. Because, like, I don't know, like it's really tough for me to feel like this is a totally different outfit. I think I'll try it on. But have a bunch of freaking like cool people and hot chicks being like, hey, I want to see what you look like in this. You're like, well, all right, I can do that. And this jacket that I thought I'd never wear, I ended up being my like favorite jacket. It's like a big, I don't know. That was really, really kind of cool. That was, here's what I was going to say about Stacey and Clinton is they had the #1 show on whatever network that was at that time. And they were talking about buying a home. And they were freaking mad popular and just real people, not like just freaking rolling in mad money. So just like with athletes, you hear about somebody making mad money. Most are not. That was interesting. I think they're both doing fairly well right now. But I got to say, I really, really freaking Stacey and Clinton are 100% real, great, very, very cool people. The reason why I think I lost that opportunity, part of the reason, and when I met with the production company for my show in Berkeley, was I do not like TV that promotes moronic behavior, right? So what I wanted to tell them from the beginning was that I didn't want to do a show like Real Housewives. I'm like, my girlfriend likes that show and I just freaking hate that crap. And but I said Desperate Housewives, which I don't know what that is, but I have a feeling it's a decent show. However, I don't know anything about television because I don't really watch it except for reruns of The X Factor. And this girl sings this Elton John song. She's from, it's an old rerun. She's from like England, probably the Midlands. Oh, she's the best. She reminds me of The Wizard of Oz, Good Witch, vibrato kind of voice. But anyway, so I go in already like making demands. I'm like, I want to do a show that's more kind of respect the audience. You got to have drama. It's what the freaking television viewing audience wants. So I'm like, I do not want to do the like, oh my God, the concrete truck jumped over in the front yard. But that's what they want for television, right? So I was like, I don't want to do that. And I don't want to do some freaking crap like Desperate Housewives. Well, Desperate Housewives, I think is a decent show, possibly. But so right away, they're just kind of like, who the heck is this freaking guy, right? Anyway, I didn't get that show. So I don't know. I think that's about all of Terry I can take. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And when things get really, really boring and you've got absolutely nothing left to do, that's Terry thinking of you.